Stop giving away the most precious thing that you have, your relationship with God, your love with God. Stop giving it away. I had a dream last night. I have a ring that I wear that symbolizes my relationship with the Lord. I wear it on my left ring finger. It looks like a big blingy ring. It's moissanite. It's not a diamond, but it is big and blingy, and I know that if any man has any intentions towards me and he does not realize that that ring doesn't mean that I'm actually married on this earth. I believe I'm married to the Lord. It says in the Bible that the Lord will be your husband. The Lord is my husband. He is my protector. He covers me. He is the love of my life. So until or if he brings me a husband on this earth, then I belong to him. So I wear this ring that symbolizes my relationship with the Lord, that it reminds me to stay focused on him, that I'm not looking for a husband in my own way. I've done that before and it became a disaster. It was the greatest heartaches of my life. Just years of just heartache. So I had a dream last night that this ring, somebody was looking at it, this guy, and he thought it was cool. And I instantly wanted to be nice and generous. I was like, oh, here, you can have it. I'll get another one. And I was just like, I can get more. I can get another ring. It's not a big deal. I can have this. And I'm thinking I'm being so nice and being so generous. And then he's looking at the ring. And then I realized he has a woman standing next to him. And I didn't feel love towards him, like a romantic way towards this man. But I didn't notice the woman before. And now I'm like, okay, like I gave it to him. I'm not getting anything out of return. This isn't like this means so much. I want to share this with you. And he's like, wow, this is so special. Like he has no intentions towards me. And all of a sudden I saw in my dream, I saw a vision of like a coffee thermos being just shoved into a cup holder with other things and was getting scratched up. And it's something that doesn't hold a lot of value. It's not really precious. If a coffee cup, if you're shoving it in, to the cup holder with other things, it gets scratched up, it's not the end of the world. It's not something that you have like a prized possession. And so I instantly knew that's how this man saw this. It's like my ring that meant so much to me. It was very symbolic and very personal to me. He would just take it, he would toss it to the side, it would get scratched up, it would get lost, whatever. He held no value when he looked at this ring. There was no value to him. It didn't mean anything significant to him. So he didn't care about it. He would never care about it the way that I did. And then I went and I have this other ring that I got before. And it has a bunch of tiny moissanite stones in the shape of a heart. And then one big one that is heart shaped. It's cut like a heart. That's a big one in the middle of the smaller thin heart of all the tiny ones. And that stone always pops out, and I've lost it before my kids found it. But in my dream I had it and it was missing the heart. And I put that one on and I was looking at my finger and I was so brokenhearted. I was looking at this ring and it's missing the middle stone, which is a heart. It was empty in the middle. And I was longing for my other ring. And it hurt so bad. I wanted to just say, hey, can I please have it back? But I was afraid, like, I don't want to say, could I have it back after I just gave it to them? But I also knew giving it to them that it wouldn't mean anything special to them. So I was in this really hard place. And I just felt so sad because of this. I woke up and I started praying about it. I'm like, Lord, what does this mean? Like that was a sad dream. It really bothered me. And first, he brought me back to my marriage. And when I was younger, I was like 18. I had friends that were getting married like right off the bat, and they all had these serious relationships, and I was like, I desperately wanted to get married. I desperately wanted to have a family, and I loved the Lord, and I was trying to press in my relationship with him. I really wanted to serve the Lord. I had prayed. I was like, Lord, I want to serve you. But then I started really wanting a husband. And I started to focus on that. And I'd pray. I'm like, Lord, like, I didn't get married when I was 18, but I just started really focus on men. And I remember, this is horrible and embarrassing to admit, but I prayed, like, Lord, like, I wanted him to bring somebody to me, and it seemed like he wasn't, and he wasn't, and he wasn't. I was a child still, I was so young, but I was like, Lord, you're never going to bring me somebody. I'm going to be old, and nobody's going to want to marry me. And, I felt so much like I just needed to get married, and I desperately wanted to be married, desperately wanted a family. And finally I was like, Lord, like, this isn't happening. And I remember praying about it and thinking, I'm going to go and find a husband, and I'll come back to you. Like, I still love you, and I still want to pray to you and have this relationship, but I wanted to go and find a husband my own way, the way that the world finds husbands. You go and find somebody, you date him, you have all this fun, and you do all this stuff that is not right, and then you marry the person, and it's just this excitement and falling in love, but you're also doing all these things it's not the right way to find a husband. And I was like, I'm gonna find a husband, and I'm gonna come back. And that's what I did. I went into the world, and I prayed to the Lord, and I wanted that relationship with him, but I also wanted the world, and I also wanted to find a husband the way that the world does. And I met somebody, and I got married when I was 20 years old. I thought I was totally in love, and it's interesting because he had somebody that he was talking to from before we were even married, and I didn't know. It took me 5 years of marriage to find out that he had never stopped talking to this woman. So I had given up something so precious, my relationship with the Lord, to go and seek a husband my own way. And I found somebody, and I thought he was just the most amazing man in the world. But he didn't see my heart as valuable. He didn't see my relationship with the Lord as valuable. He already had somebody else on the side he was talking to, and after that. And it absolutely broke me. And I was so committed to him in my marriage and trying to be the perfect wife and stuff. And there I was, just like that second ring, missing that heart. I was so broken, and I felt like my heart had been ripped out of me. I felt like a shell of a person. I was so, just because of the things that I went through in my marriage, and I was married for 13 years. I stayed 8 years after I found out about the cheating and all this stuff. And I fought, and I was pressing into my relationship with the Lord, and it felt like I could either choose my husband or the Lord, and I couldn't have both. It was so hard. And finally came to a place where I had a divorce. And since then, and I'm not an advocate for divorce, but I will say divorce is a symptom of a bigger problem. Not for the people that, they don't like something and they just quickly run to divorce. That's not it. But for women who struggle, for men too, who struggle, and they fight and they fight and they fight, and they're trying to fight for their marriage, not fighting against their spouse, but fight for their marriage, and they're trying to honor the Lord, and they don't want a divorce, but divorce eventually becomes a symptom of a deeper problem. And so for my dream, it was like, I had given up something so precious and casually, and it was like a longing in my heart to please other people and to be accepted and to feel loved. But my love was always with God, and I gave that up. So, and then as I was talking about this, like, I was praying some more, and the Lord kind of showed me another thing. Like, He's called me to ministry, and I started moving forward with that in certain ways, in small ways, taking steps towards it. And somebody else came along, and they're trying to do a ministry, and the Lord gave me a name for the ministry that He's going to give me. And I told this other person, and this person really wanted me to join with their ministry. They saw the Lord was working through me, and I was like, maybe this is the way that the Lord is calling me into ministry. Maybe this is it. And I told them about the name of the ministry that I know the Lord has for me. And then they said, oh, well, this ministry thing that they're working on, is like, maybe we can call it that. And it's like, I instantly felt like this was like my baby being taken from me. It's like, I don't know. But then I also wanted to please and not have them be like, oh, you're making this about you and this is the Lord's ministry, it's not your ministry, kind of thing. Like I was so worried about what they were going to think, what they're going to say. So I was kind of just like, yeah, maybe. And then later they were talking about some other things we had discussed. We want to have, we want big tent revivals, all these things. This is great. But there was a lot of things that was happening with this person that felt like it was taking me off the track of where the Lord had me. On the momentum he had me going towards the ministry he had for me, it felt like this person was trying to take me and make me into that ministry, like trying to take over and control and bring me places and speaking events. This is all great, and it's like, yeah, cool, doors are opening, but it felt like it was something that was man-made. And I talked to somebody else, and this is totally how it felt, because I needed prayer for it. It was so horrible. I was having bad dreams about it, and it was a counterfeit. It seemed good. I was doing things for the Lord, and they seemed like good things, but it was a counterfeit of the ministry that the Lord actually had for me. And so with this, going back to that dream that I have this relationship with the Lord now, and I was getting so incredibly close to a deeper level than I've ever been before. And I've been so close to the Lord, but he was just taking me back into that and deeper and deeper, and I was moving in ministry. And all of a sudden, it's like, since I had told that person the name of the ministry that the Lord had called me to, since that, this person, it was like all of my time was being taken by their stuff, and I was feeling like I was lacking so much. And it was just like I'd given them that ring, this precious thing that the Lord had given me, I'd given to them, and it didn't mean as much. It didn't hold value to them. They're like, yeah, let's call it that name that the Lord gave you. And it was like they're trying to take my ministry that the Lord has given to me and set apart from me, and they wanted to just make it into their thing. The name of the ministry, they wanted to make it into their thing. And I was like, no, something was missing, and it was hurting me so bad. And here I am, and I felt so empty after. Like, I had a great heaviness. Like, I split apart from that. I prayed, and when I'm like in deep prayer, when I'm in worship and stuff, I can feel the Lord, and he speaks to me and shows me things. I prophesied over people and prayed over people, they've been healed, all these amazing things. But still, there was like a heaviness I couldn't escape, and it was hurting me so much. It was like, that was it. Like, I'd given away something so precious out of seeking things my own way, seeking to do things on my own terms, thinking I'm going to go and do the Lord's work but my own way, or I'm going to go and get married but my own way, I'm going to go and do this ministry but I'm going to do this. And it was like, I wanted the Lord to be involved, but I didn't make it all about him. I was not totally led by him, and so I had given this thing away carelessly, in essence. And it left me feeling so broken and so hurt and empty. So I just want to tell you, I'm sorry for the long video, but I want to tell you, like, the Lord has something so incredible planned for your life. He has something so amazing planned for your life. He has a great relationship that he just wants to have between you and him. Like, we can all have a relationship with the Lord, but you have a very distinct relationship with the Lord that's just for you and him. Don't give up the most precious thing in your life. Don't give it up easily. Don't just go and toss it to the side and put God on the back burner while you go and try to figure out life on your own terms and then think, Lord, I'll come back to you. I can't put him on a shelf and then come back to him later when it's convenient for me. I can't say, Lord, thank you for this ministry you've called me to. I'm going to run and go try to figure this thing out, and I'm going to bring you along with me. No, you walk hand in hand with the Lord and not with anybody else. You be led by the Lord. You don't give up the most precious thing. Don't cast your pearls before swine. There's something so valuable that the Lord has given you. Something so incredibly priceless and valuable that other people will see it, and it doesn't hold the same value to them. It won't mean as much to them. Don't give that thing to other people. Keep that for you and the Lord. That is precious for you. Do not give that up. Don't give what the Lord has given you away. Hold on to it. That's between you and the Lord. That's your relationship with him. God is your number one. That's the most precious thing in your life. And you can't find that anywhere else. It only comes from the Lord. God bless. I hope that this helped you in some way. But I thank the Lord for speaking in dreams and visions in so many ways. He's so good. And He's so faithful to take you back. He's so faithful. Have a blessed day.